Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Right, so today we're actually going to be solving a modern mystery that I guarantee we literally all experience. You know that feeling when you tap a button on your phone and just nothing happens for a split second? Yeah, that tiny, super frustrating pause. Well, today we are pulling back the curtain on the hidden delays of digital slowness, and we're going to see exactly what's going on behind your screen.
Okay, let's dive straight into this. Why do apps feel so sluggish even when you're connected to lightning-fast Wi-Fi? You know, our first instinct is usually to blame the internet connection, right? We sit there thinking, come on, I have high-speed internet, why on earth is this payment page taking forever? But here's the thing. The reality is, what we actually perceive as slowness usually has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of speed or power. To understand this, we actually need to separate two totally different concepts: speed, which is basically your overall capacity, and latency, which is the actual delay, that waiting period between an action and a reaction. Let's use a real-world example. Imagine ordering from a super famous kulfi shop in Lahore. Now, you could have two different shops that both served, say, 1,000 customers a day. That is incredible speed, high volume. But if one shop hands you your kulfi the second you pay, and the other makes you stand around waiting for 5 minutes, well, your experience is completely different, isn't it? The overall volume is exactly the same, but that delay, that changes the whole shebang. So think of latency as that gap. It's the delay between your tap and the exact moment you actually feel its effect. But here's the trick, and it's a clever one. Your brain just registers it as one single annoying pause. Meanwhile, deep inside the system, it's actually a stacked chain of hidden delays. It's kind of like sending a physical parcel in the mail. The total time it takes isn't just the driving part on the highway, right? It's packing the box, it's waiting around in the dispatch center, the road trip itself, and finally, the unboxing. All right, so where do these hidden delays actually hide? Well, as we can see mapped out here, it basically breaks down into three distinct phases. First up, you have the waiting before the work even starts. That's literally just like standing in line at a busy chai stall. Second is the actual processing time. Think of this like the chef cooking your order. If you ordered a complex dish, well, it's going to take some time to make. And finally, you have the traveling after the work is done. This is the result navigating the whole network to get back to you, kind of like a delivery rider desperately fighting through rush hour traffic. Ultimately, your total wait time, it's just the sum of all three of those phases.
But hey, it's really important to note that not all waiting is created equal. We have what's called necessary delay. This is when the system's work genuinely requires computing effort, like, say, verifying your security credentials. You see a progress bar and you think, okay, fair enough, I get it, this takes a second. But then we have wasteful delay. This is the time lost sitting in queues or just getting stuck in bad digital handoffs. That's the moment you're staring at a frozen screen thinking, seriously, why am I still waiting? And really, good system design, it's not about faking instant results. It's about ruthlessly stripping away that totally wasteful wait time.
When you get right down to it, most latency comes from just three physical forces: distance, work, and waiting. Distance absolutely matters because, believe it or not, data still physically travels through cables. If a server is literally across the globe, you are going to feel that travel time. Then there's work, which is the actual heavy lifting, the computation effort. And finally, waiting, which is really just congestion. Even if you have this massive, state-of-the-art server, if 10,000 requests hit it at the exact same millisecond, yeah, some of them are going to get stuck waiting in line.
And here is where things get kind of wild. Latency doesn't just grow in a nice, predictable, straight line. A system might be humming along perfectly at a super snappy 100 milliseconds, right? But then, a sudden surge in users hits and boom, it can instantly spike. And research shows that once you hit about 300 milliseconds, that's the threshold. That is the exact moment your brain stops feeling like things are instant and starts noticing the lag. And let's be honest, that's the exact moment you start aggressively tapping your screen.
Let's actually see how this builds up in the real world. Imagine you're booking an inner-city bus ticket right during a massive holiday rush. You press book. To you, it feels like one simple action, but behind the scenes, the system has to check seat availability, reserve that seat temporarily, talk to your bank, update the massive central database, and finally trigger a confirmation SMS. Every single one of those handoffs is a potential weak link, a possible pause. If just one link in that chain, say the bank server, is running slow, your entire booking experience feels delayed.
So,
If we put it all together, latency is quite simply the time it takes for a system to make its answer felt. Not just computed, not just sent zooming over a fiber optic wire, but actually felt by you, the user. It really is the total shape of that entire digital journey. The distance, the work, the queuing, the coordination, all of it converging in that one single moment you sit there waiting for a screen to update.
And this brings us to the profound human impact of all this invisible tech. It's fascinating, really. When you experience low latency, you feel in control, you feel confident, and you feel connected. But the second you introduce high latency, especially during something stressful like a critical payment flow, you instantly feel disconnected. Doubt immediately creeps in. You start wondering, wait, did my payment go through? Did it charge me twice? Should I press the button again?
Which leads us straight to our final and maybe most important takeaway today. That gap is where user trust is built or damaged. You see, fixing latency isn't just about shaving off fractions of a second for the sake of speed. It is fundamentally about protecting your relationship with the user. So the next time you're using an app, ask yourself, are they just providing a generic service? Or are they designing a system that respects your time enough to actually earn your trust? Something to think about. Anyway, thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.